Hey, it's Barry.
And Jake.
Down here at Bucktail Bait and Tackle on US 1 in Grant, Bulgaria, across from Christensen's Landing and just south of Jorgensen's Landing, the old landing there, but still very useful. Today is a happy day for me because I am about to get a custom rod built by Jake here at Bucktail. So we want to answer the question, what's the difference between purchasing a custom rod versus an off-the-shelf rod? And is there a big price difference between the two? Because I think there's a misconception that custom equals big dollars versus just grabbing some off the shelf. And we're going to put that myth to rest here today. So I think we should start out by kind of going through the process of what's involved in a custom rod and kind of talk a little bit about that to start.
Well, there's a lot more than what you would think. There's almost limitless options of what you can really do to a rod to make it your own and be as high performance or just your everyday beater rod that you're gonna throw around and whatnot. So first of all, you can definitely tell a difference in the sensitivity of the rod because of the way we spline it. Most factory rods that you're getting off the shelf is just going to be put together. They don't check it. They're just slapping guides on it and right out the door as fast as they can.
So let's back this up a minute. Okay, so the majority, and we're not picking on any brand in particular, but the majority of your rods that you purchase off the shelf are factory made. They're just in jigs and they just put stuff on. Right? There's not a lot of, and I'm not going to say there's not a lot of care taken because there's some great rod companies out there.
There are a few brands that do hand tie everything and take that time to make a quality rod. Right. We're not going to pick any one of those in particular, but they're more far from, or they're less as common than someone that just puts something and pumps it out. Every day is just about production.
A lot of stuff comes from overseas that you might think, oh, it's and so the bottom line is, if I come in for a custom rod, I'm getting what I want. And let's touch on one other note here before we get too far. Price-wise, when somebody goes and they start fishing, they kind of pick up a rod and reel combo and they start getting going. Then they're thinking, hey, I want a better quality rod, or I want a specific rod for a specific job on the water, right? Okay, so the kind of the first price range that people jump into is maybe that 120 to 150 range.
Right, it's a good starting point for a good quality, beginner rod, is that 120 to 160 or so.
But can you get a custom rod for that?
Of course you can. Of course you can. It's going to be a good, decent blank. It's going to be fitted to you, and you got your personalized information on it, your color schemes, whatever. Like I said, the options are limitless. And
okay, so let's get back up to fitted to you. What does that mean?
Well, I got a blank right here and we'll show you. When you come in to get a rod and custom made, I usually like to have you hold it in your hand and see where that fulcrum is, where it's most comfortable for you and when you're going to be hooking into a good fish. So we'd go ahead and mark where you would like that, your reel seat to be and where it's most comfortable for you.
Gotcha. And for those that don't know, this is a blank, and there's nothing on it. It's blank. Okay, and these are made of different types of materials depending on what you're looking for. But one of the most common blank materials, what are the most common blank materials?
Common blanks is right now graphite is really a popular item. There's different graphites they're coming out with that are stronger and better. At first they were a little brittle, but then there's composite, which is graphite, and you got fiberglass mixed into it. They're all great. It just depends on the application of what you want to use for, because some rods are lighter and have more sensitivity, and then some solid fiberglass if you want a grouper rod, something that's just heavy and won't break. Right. That's a good option for it.
Gotcha. Okay. And I know we were talking about earlier measuring. Explain that why there's a measuring process and what that does to separate it from, again, an off-the-shelf rod.
Well, when I come up and measure it, it's going to be, where you would like to hold your reel and when you're loading a good fish and I have you put it on the ceiling and see where the good fulcrum will be to put that reel seat and what's comfortable for you. Gotcha. And then we go ahead and mark it, and then the process begins from there.
Okay, so we're measuring. Okay, so it's this part of your arm then.
Right, where it's comfortable for you to be holding and making those casts and retrieving fish.
Gotcha. Yeah, because when you get on a big one, You don't want 9 feet here, or you don't want it all stubby here and getting you in the wrist.
Too short,
mostly.
you can't get the right angle on it, or too long where it's jabbing you in the side.
Yep.
You know,
Exactly.
it's very tailored to you.
Okay, great. All right, and then so let's just kind of quickly go through the process. Okay, so we start with a blank.
It's a tedious process.
Okay.
Yeah, you think it's just a fishing rod, but you have the blank.
Okay.
You have the difference between a split grip or a full grip, which would, a split grip would give you right here to here, you know, just the butt, and then this is where your real seat would begin,
Okay.
and then your foregrip. Or a full grip would be completely
All the way
covered.
down.
And then that's just that. And then the real seat, you can go aluminum, graphite. There's many different options of color, brands. Fuji's a popular one, yes. But there's other ones that are just as good quality out there as well to get you in that price point to not where you're breaking the bank.
Right.
So,
Jake, what's the difference between the different, the full and the split?
I should have brought one of those out. Well, the full grip is going to cover this
wanna do
whole
that?
back half of the blank.
You want to grab one?
Yeah, we'll be
we'll
right
do-
back,
yeah.
and I'll grab one. All right, going back to that split grip and full grip description, here we got an example. Right here would be a split grip where you have a space in between, just another spot for you to be able to customize the rod to whatever you would like. And then also, another thing, reel seats. There's many options. This is a palm swell reel seat, so it's a little bit more comfortable to cast and retrieve fish. You know, it's just built for your comfortability. And then you got your foregrip right there, and that would be your split grip. Right here, I have a full grip. And then right there, it just covers the entire back half of the rod. And you got a standard reel seat on this one as well. Foregrips usually a little bit bigger on these ones, because on the split grip, you're holding the reel seat mostly and everything. But that would be your full grip.
Any particular advantage to one over the other that you would say?
Honestly,
If somebody came to you and said, which one, you know, do you prefer, or is there a benefit to one or the other? Or is it just preference?
Honestly, it's preference, but I'm going to give you a fact. When you're sliding these in and out of your pole holders, the split grip gets caught all the time, and
Gotcha.
it's more of a hassle sometimes when you're trying to get that rod out of the rod holder and get to the fish.
Okay, gotcha,
Yes.
gotcha. Yep. So you
that-
sacrifice, you may get a little bit more custom.
It takes weight off as well. It's definitely a lot lighter.
True.
So
You lose well, you're right, you lose some weight and you lose your little bit of extra custom rod, you know, space, but you gain the ease of getting in and out of the rod holder quicker.
Yeah.
If you got a nice fish on the end of it, you probably
trying
yeah, exactly.
get it out of there.
Dang, why did I have to get that extra little thing on my rod? Not be able to get it out. Okay, great. Moving forward from there, obviously we've got the blank. We go to the grips. We do our measurements. Now, what's the next kind of thing that we look at?
You can do a little either thread pattern or marbling. There's so many different patterns and designs and things you can do to customize it. Then you just go over thread, or you know, something. Say most people just say, hey, do something cool for me, but keep it in these colors.
Right.
So you know, try new things all the time and come out with some great stuff so far.
Sure.
After that, we have your guides. So that's definitely going to be a component as to whether you're going to be using a conventional, like a bait caster rod, or a spinning rod with your regular old spinning reel. So you have casting guides, which are double-footed. They definitely give you a lot more stability to your blank if you run them all the way through versus a single foot. But a single foot, they have great guides out there as well for spinning sets, and they do just as good a job. It's, once again, personal preference, what you're fishing for, what you're going to use the rod mainly for, so we can go into detail and how to make your blank sturdy enough to fish and catch what you want to catch.
Gotcha. And then all those, of course, are threaded up probably. You know, if somebody wants it matching, or they want alternating colors or whatever, it's just kind of whatever they come back and say, this is what I want. Okay.
I usually say 3 colors. You know, pick 3 colors, 2's fine, and then we'll go from there, and then run down what you want to do with your rod and how you want it to look.
Nice. Now I see this is a black blank. Can the blanks be different?
Oh,
a
yeah,
different
of
color
course.
than just black? Or
Of course, we paint them, whatever. It's
Okay.
not that hard of a process to take a black rod, turn it white, pink, whatever. Some rods come colored, so that's good as well. Some rods are carbon fiber, and some customers like that carbon fiber finish, so we don't do anything.
Right.
So, but those are more the high-end rods.
Right, of course. Yep. Yeah, so obviously, you know, like anything, whether it's your boat, whether it's your car, it doesn't matter what it is, the more you do to it, the more it's going to cost. But
Performance.
walking in the door,
You can get out.
you can get just, well, a better quality rod because there's certain things you're going to do. Let's cover that real quick. You're talking about, we were talking about splining earlier, making sure
Yes.
that is.
That's another thing that, you know, gets neglected with these factory-made rods, because they're just sitting there. They get that, sit down, put their blank down, and start putting guides on it.
Okay.
You really want to see where the sweet spot is, the spline in your rod. Mainly, you want it to bend. You find that natural bend that it has in it, because if you go against that natural bend, it's going to twist the wrong way that it wants to bend, and will just simply snap.
Gotcha.
By splining it, you'll have a lot more sensitivity to it, and plain and simple, it's not going to break as easily.
Which is kind of important when you're getting a rod. Well, not only when you're getting a rod built, but when you're out on the water, you don't want your rod to break, obviously. So,
Right.
yeah, so that is a, you know, very important point that I think people don't understand. When it comes to custom rods, there's those extra things that go into building it. And again, I always had this perception that if I want a custom rod, I got to, you know, it's $500, $700, you know, whatever, it's going to be huge money. So when we got to talking about that and say, wait a minute, I can get a good quality custom rod for the same money I would pay for, you know, a quality rod off the shelf.
Well,
I'm going custom.
Also, Barry, I'm not just building rods. We have this whole establishment bringing in money, so we personally don't have to charge as much as that Joe that is out there. That's what he does. That's
Okay.
all he does.
Right.
So, you know, it's another benefit of coming here, and you can get the tackle and everything you need along with it. Reels, line,
Matching reel up
everything.
to it, yep.
Matching reels. I've done a lot of those. And then rod restorations. I know there's a lot of guys out there that have that favorite stick that they don't want to let go. I've probably refurbished just as many rods as I've rebuilt, but it is a little bit extra money because you got to break it down. But if you can't let go of that stick and you want it redone, we can do it. That's also an option.
Absolutely. All right. Well, good. So what we're going to do is go ahead and get the process started then.
Yeah.
On my personal build. So I think we're going to go
Get
ahead.
him fitted up, and then we'll probably
Move forward
we're going to
from
go
there.
forward from there. All right.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good. Okay, folks, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and get the build process started here. So let's go ahead and take it with step one, which is what?
We're going to measure you up and get this fitted right for you.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go ahead and grab that and then put it on the ceiling for me, and let me know where you're going to hold that to where that butt is going to be comfortable to you. Where that good fulcrum is going to be, where you got the most comfortable
Right about there.
position. Right about there. I'm going to go in. Hold on, let me come to the other side of you. I'm going to go ahead and mark your wrist right there. And that's about it for right now. We're going to be doing a split grip on this one, so that means Barry's going to have this little length here to customize, and along with the rest of the rod.
Okay, so what we did then is I just found my sweet spot.
The sweet spot.
For me, where if I've got a big fish on, I've got the most power right here to be able to
best
use
angle
that rod.
to hold that fish. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, and then you were talking about splining. Can we cover that real
Splining.
quick
All right,
one more
well,
time here?
Another thing that I am going to be doing is splining that rod which is finding that natural bend in the rod of where it wants to sit. You know, because it will twist to the side, either or if it doesn't want to sit there. And yours is looking like it's about right there. That's your sweet spot. I'm going to go ahead and make a mark on the rod there to indicate where the spline is.
Okay.
And then that's the directions your guides are going to go. Your guides are going to go right down that line. So that way it's the most natural way this rod wants to bend.
So what that keeps then from happening is when you get a fish on, if it's not correctly splined,
if it's not correctly splined, your guides are set this way, and your spline is over here. So that's gonna twist it and then go and snap your rod.
Gotcha. Okay, so really important. Okay, so another great reason to do a custom rod is to ensure that your rod is going to be able to
take the fish that you're going to be
exactly.
catching.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. So the next steps we're going to take is we're going to bounce over to the Wall of Fame over here. Jake's Pride and Joy rods. He got some beautiful stuff over here. We're going to go through looking at the guides and some different patterns and different things that we can select from to add to this rod build. Okay, Jake, so now we want to go ahead and obviously need to pick out the guides that go on the rod. So there's a couple different ways that we talked about that we can go, but one that you highly recommend would be, I believe, this setup here.
Yes,
for good reason.
I recommend this one. You know, you're going to start off with the double-footed casting guide. And start off with a good sized ring, but this will give you a lot more strength and backbone in the rear half of your rod. Then with yours, we're going to go with these going to casting. You start off with the spinning, you start off with the casting guides and then go to the spinning guides, and then this will allow you to cast and give you that nice sensitivity, but yet give you durability as well.
Okay, and plenty of distance on the cast.
Yes, and that's another thing is the guide spacing and where you place those guides can allow you to cast, and the number of guides will allow you to cast further.
So a question then, does it matter then, depending on what type of fishing I'm doing? So if I'm down there chasing snook and redfish and trout and things like that, is that a totally different setup than, let's say, if I'm, I don't know, offshore?
Yes,
definitely.
So
two extremes.
Well, you have many guides to choose from. With offshore, you got roller guides, you got solid. I like to use these titanium solid guides that don't have the inserts, because there's a lot of use and abuse on the boat and getting knocked around. You chip guides, they fall out. With these guides, you don't have to worry about that as well on yours, but that will put you at a different price point. They have those for your rod as well, but those cost a little bit more, so that can make your price fluctuate depending on what kind of guides you get on.
But this setup then is a good all-around river setup then for casting lures, for pitching shrimp out on floats, bait fish, whatever.
Yep, this setup gives you that strength and durability, but yet sensitivity.
Great.
And if you want something a little sturdier, if you were to go with something sturdier, I would just recommend the casting guides all the way through. So there's 2 feet, sturdy up that length, and you know, that's going into customization of what you're going to fish for and how you like your rod setup.
Gotcha. Okay, and it's real important if you're going to get a custom rod, make sure that you let Jake know what type of fishing you're going to be doing, what species you're going after, because that's going to determine a lot of the build components in what you're going to go through. So that way he can make sure that you're getting the right setup for the job you're looking to get out there and do. Okay, next we're moving on to colors. In my case, I like the blank color, the blank black, black blank.
Okay.
Yeah, color. I'm not looking for, to change the colors. However, if I wanted to,
we can do that, and it's real quick.
Okay.
Not a problem. You can keep it normal or go flashy. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered the guides, we've covered the blank as far as color options, and there's some beautiful patterns and things that are up here for sure. I'm going with the split grip, so that's taken care of. So the only thing really would be any artistic additions that we might want to do, which would be thread, any kind of threading patterns.
Are you a thread guy, or are you an artsy marbling guy, or we could do.
I know on the bigger rods now, and I'm talking bigger rods, you were talking earlier about this really cool way that you can
the water slides.
Water slides.
You can send me a picture of your face and I can put it on your rod for you, but that's if the blank allows the surface area to do that. Basically, we can take any picture and put it on your rod. As long as it's got a decent diameter and allows us to do so, we can do some pretty cool stuff.
Really neat, really neat. Okay. All right, good. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. The next time you see us, it's going to be with a, we'll do some rod build updates along as the process goes on. We'll stop in, check up on things, see how things are going, and then we'll eventually get to the finished product. And then we're going to get to the finished product with a fish on the end of it.
That's going to be great.
Even better. All right, folks. Thanks for watching.